Now, as far as our first layer goes, our application control layer, has anybody here ever seen some type of zero trust application whitelisting solution in the past? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there have been some legacy products out there. They're geared mainly towards the enterprise space, which means enterprise budget, enterprise implementation. You usually got to hire staff as well to manage that solution. So when we created Threatlocker, we really geared it towards the MSP space. It had to be easy to configure, easy to deploy, and a multi-tenant solution. So when you log into the portal, you'll be able to see all your organizations on one page. Creation of organizations is very simple. Pushing out agents to those organizations is also just as easy, because once you visit the computers page, you have several different installers to choose from: executable, MSI, PowerShell script. And then I didn't catch if you guys are using an RMM such as Kaseya or Automate. Are you guys, yeah, which one are you using?
Well, so we have a mix of different people here. I mean, we use a product called Atera, but there are people who have Kaseya and different tools of
Okay.
that nature in place. So, like I said, you have kind of a homogeneous mix here of
All right.
of technology people. But yeah, so Kaseya, like I said, NetV Pro uses Atera.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'll tell you what, we're not RMM centric. We have scripts for just about every single one of the major RMMs. I think there's like 13 or 14 different scripts in total. That actually becomes the preferred method of deployment once we know you have an RMM. I'll provide you the script. I'll help you to configure the script. I'll even help you to deploy it out using that script. My partners who use those scripts can push out thousands of agents in less than an hour with my assistance. Okay. Now, once those agents do get installed, okay, the first thing that happens to them is those agents enter what's called a learning status. Now, this allows the agents, when you deploy them, to then perform an inventory on all the computers. As part of that inventory, the agent runs a baseline. Basically, what the agent is trying to do is figure out what's already running on those computers. So it's going to go in, it's going to start creating these definitions. All right, along with those definitions, policies get created automatically for you. The agent does all the work. Along with this policy creation and defining, everything that happens on those computers is also going to be tracked within this unified audit. So if users are executing applications, you're going to be able to see details on those applications, such as the path that the application is running from, the computer, the username, the hash of the file. If that file even has a signed certificate, that'll come through as well. Nice thing is, doesn't matter where the computer is. This is always going to get sent over to the portal. Okay. Now, what we do is, let me move this over here. What we do is, once you get the agents installed, you want to let them run for a minimum of 1 week in that learning status. Now, that's not to say that's all you need to let it learn, but at a minimum, you want to leave it for a week. And the reason being is that even though it does that initial baseline within the first 2 hours, the agent is going to continue picking up files that are executing during that 1 week period. Now, during that time, it's going to continue building out these definitions, all right? Essentially, what the agent is doing is it's going into these applications and it's fingerprinting those files, and it does so by hashing those files out. Now, this is the way that later on the agent identifies applications as they're running is going to be via this file. Okay. Everybody tracking so far? Okay, cool. Now, along with those definitions, policies get created. Agent does all the work for you as well. The nice thing is that once the policies are created, when you decide to secure your machines, you ultimately have control over what runs. Let's say, for instance, you're a ConnectWise house, okay? And you happen to find TeamViewer as a policy created within that environment. Well, you may not be using TeamViewer, nor should your clients be using it. It could be the result of a user installing it on the backside to remote into their computer from home. Well, if you don't want TeamViewer to run, good, bad, or indifferent, you simply turn the policy off. Okay, if you've secured the machines, if that user attempts to install TeamViewer or even execute it again, what you're going to find is this policy list works very much like a firewall. So if you're familiar with firewall technology, policies run from top to bottom, Agent's going to look for something to permit it. If there's nothing that's either enabled or there at all, the agent hits the bottom of the list and there's a default deny. But then the user gets a prompt and then they could submit that request. And what you tend to find is that once the users are aware that they can't install these applications, if they try and install a Chrome extension and it's not on the list, they try and install a game, it's not on the list, they're going to get that prompt, they're going to have to submit that request, and then they're going to be like, oh, wait, I don't want my IT department to know about this. Maybe I won't submit this over, okay? And you'll find that, you know, the users start to curb themselves to the technology because then they realize they just can't install whatever application they want because if it's not on the list, they hit that default deny, IT department gets the notification, and then you have a conversation with their bosses about it, right?